Welcome back to the Love Like Crazy podcast. We're your hosts, Jay and Stacey Coleman, and thank you so much for joining us today. We have a great topic for you. We are so excited that you're here to listen in on this conversation today. And always remember that if you enjoy what you're hearing, please like, share, subscribe, comment, review. We'd love to hear from you. So today, we're going to get started here in just a few moments and talk about a great topic that, and I know my husband here he's raring to go. He is on his 5th cup of coffee today.
I'm a coffee drinker. I love it.
Yeah.
And I know you don't like coffee. She is not a coffee drinker. I've tried every way possible to get her to drink coffee. I've tried to trick her, and she's like, that's nasty. It's disgusting. But for me personally, I love it. I'm on my 5th cup. And I am raring to go.
You are. No, I'm more of a hot chocolate or sweet tea.
Well, to be honest, I have this coffee in front of me because I'm a little nervous about today's episode.
Are you?
Yeah. And we have always promised you guys that we're just going to be real and transparent. We're coming to you as Jay and Stacey Coleman, not as pastors Jay and Stacey Coleman. So we're just relating to you as average people, husband and wife, parents, grandparents. And today my wife's frustrated with me. We step into this podcast and she's a little edge of frustration with me.
Well, you know, Jay, we spend an awful lot of time together.
We do. And actually I was a bonehead earlier, frustrated her. I've apologized. She's forgiven me, but there's still some lingering in the air. And so we figured, hey, what a great time to talk about learning to find rest and learning what personal space is all about.
I was going to say we spend an awful lot of time together, and about right now, I'm going to be wanting some personal space after this podcast recording. I'm going to the spa.
Okay, I'm assuming
and you're buying. And you're buying. Absolutely.
Well, I think it's important. You hear us talk about, we are best friends. And when we say that, we're not making that up.
No, we are.
We have been together for almost 33 years now, 31 years of marriage this summer. And we have always done everything together in unity. We've always been close, but one of the things, being parent, stepping in ministry, we've always done everything together. And there's nobody else in this world I'd rather be best friends with than my wife. I'd rather spend time with my wife. Yeah, we have friends. Yeah. We have, great relationships outside of this marriage. But we also recognize we do life together. And one of the things that I saw as a pastor is you have so many couples that they pour their lives into their kids. It's all about the kids. It's all about the job. And then they get to the point where we are now, where you're empty nest and you're strangers.
Yeah.
And I think we both decided we don't want that. We want to be best friends and share in this covenant until we're, 80, 85, 90 years old. And so personal space is a big part of that.
It is. And I think it needs to be balanced out. Like we said, we're spending a lot of time together, but sometimes, you can spend too much time together.
Yep.
And when that happens, it can cause frustration and you get aggravated with one another. And that's when you just have to back up, take a little bit of personal space and re-gear.
For me personally, I find it's valuable for me to get away and go to the camp, go hunt. I hunt with my sons. You actually went with me.
Not too long ago,
you went out to the duck blind with me, and we spent that day together hunting. But for me personally, I do like to have time where I just go by myself. I find that it's refreshing. I like watching the sun come up. I like that as a time of prayer. I can sing, and there's nobody around to, tell me that I'm singing off key or anything of that nature. And for you, I know that you love to get away and go to the spa and relax. Or you just like to take sometimes a day just to curl up on the couch and sleep or read a book?
Just be alone. And that's kind of how I decompress, because I'm more of an introverted personality. And I say it like this: I'm introverted, but I live in an extroverted world. I operate in an extroverted world, being that we're pastors. I feel like you are a lot more extroverted than I am. I think we have our shy side, maybe even battle with a little bit of social anxiety from time to time. But it's important to just step back and have that, separation. I'm a homebody in every sense of the word. I'm a homebody, and I love to travel and go places, but then I want to be at home and I want to be able to decompress. And so, And that's my way of resting.
I will say, I think it is easy for people to, encounter somebody who they're used to being behind a microphone, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a speaker, whether it's a pastor,
Right.
and you have these expectations of what it's like for that person because you see them and that personality in behind a microphone. But then you might be a little surprised that they're kind of shy or what have you. And I know for me personally, when I tell people sometimes I kind of have a shy side, they're like, "Oh, whatever, you're full of it." But the reality is that there are behind a microphone on the platform is the place where I'm comfortable. But if you get me in a crowd full of people, sometimes I can, be a little uncomfortable, be a little shy as well.
Yeah.
So I think that every person has those areas within their life.
Yeah.
And I'm just being real and honest with you. So yeah, you're right. You are a little bit more introverted than me. And, but I think that you've done a great job of, the different things that God's put in you. You've done a great job of building the body of Christ and loving people around you and all that good stuff. So let's talk a little bit about what it looks like and specifically personal space. When I think of that, I'm thinking about like not pushing people away from you because you're anger, or I'm thinking of rest. That's
not
what
isolating yourself.
Not isolating yourself. That's a better way of saying it. Not isolating yourself, but I need some time to decompress. I need some time to rest.
To recharge. You
see this as a theme throughout the Bible. You see in Genesis at creation that God brought an earth that had no form. It was without form or void. There was a void there. And he brought creation. So he's, creating all these different aspects of what we see. And then on the seventh day, what did he do? He rested. And so my thought is, if it's important to the God that we serve, it needs to be a principle that is valuable within our lives, within our families. And you see it from the Old Testament all the way through the New Testament. One of the verses I love is Matthew chapter 11, verse 29, where Jesus talks about taking his yoke. And we think of a yoke as something that is heavy and cumbersome. But Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and I am humble, and you will find rest for your soul." In other words, Jesus is not going to put something on our lives that's cumbersome or heavy. What he has for our lives is his peace, his joy, his love, his forgiveness, and grace. And so in him, we find rest for our heart, for our life, for our spirit, for our soul. And so in that regards, let's talk about 3 specific areas today. That we talk about being alone, but I think it's important for us to think about being alone in some different areas of our life.
Well, I just want to jump in and say that it just blesses my heart for you to talk about rest in the way that you do now, because there was a time years ago where you didn't do rest very well at all.
One of the things that you would always get aggravated with me about is I would tell you, you need to learn to rest. And I'd be like, you know what? I'll rest when I get to heaven.
Yeah. And I hate that statement because I'm like, I need you here with me for a long period of time before you go to heaven.
Yeah. So we have determined that we're going to, rest together and basically, enjoy life together as husband and wife, as best friends.
Yes.
Even though we're frustrated, we get frustrated.
Yes, right.
Till we're 80, 85, 90 years old. Then we're going to do the Notebook on the way out.
Oh, is that it?
That's what we're going to do. We're
Oh
going
my gosh.
go out together. Okay.
Oh, Lord.
In a nursing home. Well, I don't know.
Oh, in a nursing
Met in a
home.
nursing home going out. I don't know.
Oh,
know.
no. Okay.
So, let's talk about 3 areas that we need alone time in. I think that this first one is very important because we're all about building a stronger marriage and family. We need alone time with our family.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of times when you say this, people think about a family vacation, and that's important.
It is.
But, you're hearing people doing staycations. You're hearing about, where you stay at home and you do things in your area. But sometimes it's okay just to grab your family and say, you know what, we ain't doing nothing today. I know those were the days I would make pancakes. I would make, biscuits or something like that. We just hang out at the house in our pajamas and just kind of crash and not do a whole lot.
Yeah. And then there was the other times I used to love it whenever it was the Saturday that we would cut grass, or you would cut grass. I'm sorry. And you were training our boys how to cut grass. And so I would be inside cleaning the house. You guys would be outside working on the yard. And then I would go pick up burgers from someplace and we'd sit out underneath the carport and eat our burgers together. That was just like a fun, that was our quality time with our kids and our family, but yet we were getting things done.
We'd sit outside covered in little grass pieces and sweaty and sit underneath the carport, and the concrete was cool. Even though it was hot outside, the concrete
Mm-hmm.
was cool, and we would sit there and eat those burgers and drink Cokes and fries, eat the
Yeah.
fries and just talk.
Yeah.
And that was good for our family because we were teaching our kids. Once again, I go back to this work ethic.
Yes.
Okay. I got to say, now that we're empty nesters, the cutting the grass is on me again.
Mm-hmm.
And the boys don't cut the grass anymore. That's once again rest
because they don't
in
live
my
here anymore.
So I'm going to propose that you start helping me cut the grass, and I'll get you a burger.
I am going to propose that I will just go get the burgers.
That's a hard no on your part. Okay. So
Yeah.
I think that it's valuable within our families that we find that alone time as a family. What is it going to look like for your family? For us, it was as simple as cutting grass, cleaning the house. Hey, no friend, and that actually meant no friends over.
Right.
The neighborhood kids might come over and we'd be like, hey, guess what? We're taking some family time.
Yeah.
And, we would kind of push back from that because we just want to be alone together as a family.
Well, those are the things that the kids remember and that we remember, and just having that quality time together. And those are the kind of things that cause the foundation of our family to be stronger, to be close knit, which is what I believe that we have developed as a close knit family.
Well, and also we've talked about movie nights before. We're talking about Saturday mornings now, just a lazy Saturday. But we've also talked about movie nights. That was a big thing for us as well, because that's a cheap family night.
Pizza and movies, yeah.
Cheap pizza, Little Caesars, Mr. Gaddy's, something of that nature, Domino's, and just hang out at the house and watch a movie. One of the things that I always thought was so much fun with the boys was we love to take road trips as a family.
Yes.
And that was always a lot of fun to get in the vehicle. I have a driving range of 13 hours. I can drive 13 hours before I have to stop and get a hotel room. And so we've taken trips to Colorado. We've taken trips to Florida. And the boys have actually said that they, even now as adults, that they enjoyed being in the vehicle with me and you, because Dad always makes it fun. Now, a lot of times you crash. I have tons of pictures on my phone of me driving and taking a picture of my wife sleeping, and I actually have an album in my phone of my favorite co-pilot.
Yes.
So, but you'd wake up. I mean, literally while we're driving, trying to stay awake, we would do things like crank up the music and have a full-on dance party. And the kids thought we were dumb because we're Dad's dancing while he's driving. Yeah. Whatever.
Playing games.
But, yeah, and we would play the license plate game. We would play the ABC game. I'm never above stopping if I see something that's interesting on the side of the road. A tourist attraction or something. I'm never above just stopping and checking it out. So we would do everything that we could and that was it sounds different because it's on a vacation, but it was alone time with the family. Yeah. You're having adventures, you're having fun as a family.
And every time we would take a road trip, we had this little portable DVD player that we would take with us, and I would buy like a set of movies that maybe the boys had never seen before. And do you remember the would it be
Karate Kid?
Karate Kid, yeah.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Lord of the Rings.
All of the,
we would find multiple.
Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many there were.
You'd find those multi-movie segments, and we would watch them.
Yeah, and that one time we went to Orlando, and I bought the set of the Karate Kid movies and introduced that to the boys. They watched them all because that's from our childhood. And then when we came back, the new Karate Kid movie was coming out, so we all went to movie night.
So I know you listen to this and you say, you know what, as simple as taking a road trip, as simple as a lazy Saturday morning, what's the point of that? What's restful for your family? It helps togetherness within your family, and it helps you, kind of, I would say it like this, refocus. So let's move to the next aspect, because this is huge, is alone time as a couple. There are times, we would kind of push the kids back and say, look, Mom and Dad need a little bit of, alone time. And when I say alone time, I'm not necessarily talking about bedroom time. Okay. Maybe that as well.
That might be a benefit of the alone time. Yeah.
And that's a benefit of the alone time. But what I'm talking about is the time that you have just you two together to sit, to talk, maybe do the bills together, maybe talk through an issue that you're facing together within your family, maybe a date night.
Yes.
I know that we used to love to go together, on a date night when the kids were little. We'd hire a babysitter and we would head out on a date night. Now we have date nights all the time.
We do. We have
life is just one constant
lunch dates. We have lunch dates, and But remember the other night you said, oh, you know what? I'm in the mood for a steak. And so what do? We go to, I have a little envelope.
We have some gift cards
of gift cards. And I'm like, okay, you want a steak? We'll go see what kind of gift card we have.
And so we wind up at the Outback.
At the Outback, yes.
Got a steak, gift card paid for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you might think that this is crazy as well. A lot of times we would find a babysitter. We would go on a date night. We might go to a nice restaurant. And then afterwards, it seemed like we always wind up at Walmart.
Grocery shopping.
It's like, okay, look, we're alone. Let's go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
And that was kind of crazy, but I always found it kind of, ironic that we wound up in the grocery store, but it was just good alone time. And we actually now from time to time, we'll take a date to go grocery shopping.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but it's just kind of what we do.
Yeah. Or Sam's Club for sure.
Yeah. I love Sam's Club.
Sure.
I know I got some Costco fans out there, but Sam's Club, so where's that? Okay.
Giving you a shout out.
So you got to have that alone time. I would encourage, yes, you need alone time in the bedroom. The kids come knocking on the door, tell them, hey, when the door's closed, when it's locked, mom and dad are busy. Stay away. Okay. Don't come knock on the door.
Yeah. So when you have those littles, you should just put them to bed early.
Yeah. And
so you can have some time alone.
With that said, you also need those date nights. You also need those walks. A lot of times we go on walks and it's time for us to get alone, to talk things through, to just have good time together. And then let's get to, because that is restful. We're talking about rest in your family, refocusing. We're talking about rest within, our marriage, and it makes it stronger and healthy. And now let's talk about alone time as an individual, as a person. For me, I'm a morning person. I know you're not.
I am not a morning person. And I would rather stay up at night, but I get things done that way. But, you are absolutely the happiest morning person ever.
I get up, I take a shower, I drink my green drink, which gives me energy. I drink my coffee, which gives me energy.
Like you have right now, your 5 cups of coffee.
I drink a big glass of water as well. And then the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to spend time in prayer. I'm going to spend time looking at scripture. And then, and I'm also a singer. In the morning, a lot of times I love to sing. And even though you are a musician, you're a vocalist, you have a degree in music, you were a music teacher for years, worship pastor for years. You don't like me singing in the morning.
Well, I just don't like that type of disturbance when I'm not fully awake.
Yeah. And
that's what it is.
Bodily harm has been threatened before if I don't stop.
It doesn't put me in the best mood. So it's better that you go have your alone time in the morning separate from me.
I do enjoy that alone time. Your alone time a lot of times is an evening time after I go to sleep after about 9 o'clock. I turn into Bear, and she's likes to stay up late. Writing, she likes to stay up late,
reading a book if possible.
And so that is her time where she kind of unwinds. But then there's also the time we need to get away from each other. And I'm sensing that we're upon one of those moments.
Yes. I'm sensing that as well. It used to be the way that we spent a little bit of time apart from each other. You would always look forward to duck hunting season. And you would go to the camp, you would take the boys. Well, I looked forward to that because that was my time alone. I would stay home and watch my Hallmark movies, because it's like, leading into Christmas. And that was kind of my time. I knew I would have, separated my time to recharge and so forth. But here recently, we bought a camp.
We have a new camp.
And it's nice and it's homey. And I love being at the camp.
Well, and it's Stacey worthy. It is now a place that she will go to, and she's not afraid that she's going to catch the plague.
Yeah. Because the camp before was,
it had black mold in it.
We never healthy.
We never treated the black mold because we kind of, me and the guys, my sons and my friend who we had the camp together, we looked at it like it was a house plant. Yeah. And that was our house plant at the camp. But I stayed with a sinus infection. So you always said, hey, this is not, I'm not going to that place. I'm not stepping foot in it. I would come back.
My word for that was, it was unacceptable.
I would come back and tell her stories like, hey, I was cooking breakfast and a mouse ran out of the stove. Hey, I opened a cabinet and a snake skin fell out. So she was not having that.
So it was safer for me to stay home and watch movies.
So we made an investment. The Lord blessed us, and we made an investment this past summer and bought something that was Stacey worthy. And now You tell me your favorite places on the back porch, sitting on the swing,
Yes.
watching the sun come up or go down, and that's your prayer place. That's your
Yes.
time to read your Bible, read a
Mhm.
book.
And it's so quiet and peaceful, and it is definitely a place for me to recharge. But when we go there, what I love, even though and I know some of you are thinking, well, that's not really time apart anymore, and you're already spending so much time together. But we enjoy going to the camp because you will get up when it's hunting season. Yep. You will get up so early. Because I'm not a morning person, you let me sleep in. Thank you for that, honey. I appreciate that.
I'm a giver.
Yes. And so by the time that you come back, we might eat biscuits or whatever. But then I get to spend time, like you said, on the swing. I can worship, I can pray. It's just quiet and peaceful. But then it's also, I love sitting in that comfy chair and reading a book. And I could probably stay there like all day long.
Recharging your batteries. And a lot of times I have to have activity. So I go downstairs and I'm working, doing things around there, fixing stuff, making repairs, building the dock, things like that, running my boat, things that I like to do as a guy. And
so we're together, but yet we also have that a little bit of separate time where we can recharge. And then I also love the fact that just being out in nature and going for a walk. I mean, we do that sometimes here at home, but out at the camp is just an appreciation for God's beauty in the world.
Well, and so what that proves is that even being together, you can still find time alone.
Yes.
So if you're going to find rest for your life, find rest for your marriage, find rest for your family, it's important to have that alone time. Alone time as a family, alone time as a couple, alone time for yourself, to where you can recharge your batteries and really allow God to re-strengthen you and refill you.
Right, because you can't give out of an empty cup.
That's awesome that you say that. So, I've enjoyed this podcast. Look, I know that I frustrated you earlier. I'm sorry. I apologize to you.
I still love you.
Do you? And I know you've forgiven me, but I'm
still going to the spa.
Okay, that's fine. And we might even go to the camp this weekend. So,
okay.
But you know what? I hope that you've enjoyed this podcast today. And it's really just us being real with you guys and kind of telling you where we are. And telling you what we have found personally through all the years of our marriage, things that have worked, things that have not worked, and learning to find rest for our marriage and for our family. So you have anything else you want to add before we tune off? Well,
I do want to jump back into where you were talking about alone time as a family. We talk a lot about what we did when our kids were little, but we have alone time now with our kids still on family nights when they come and they join us. And that is recharging in itself too.
I'll tell you what's recharging is alone time with those grandbabies.
Oh, absolutely. Our favorite. Yeah. So that's just part of when you set aside that time and plant those seeds. Yeah. It comes back to you.
Absolutely. So listen, if you have enjoyed what you have heard so far, thank you for supporting this podcast, but we need you to help us get the word out. Help us build it, help us grow it. So like this, share this, subscribe to this, and invite your friends to take a listen as well. And we look forward to our next episode as we talk about so many more issues and topics and things that come up in life. We want to help you build a stronger family, build a stronger marriage.
Yes.
And so I'm Jay.
And I'm Stacey.
And thank you for tuning in to Love Like Crazy.